Want to build a worldwide audience from scratch in the next 90 days? When I first got started online 18 years ago, I tried at least 80 different places to build an audience. Nothing worked until I stumbled on a single place and a single process. I had my first audience in just 90 days. I spent the next few years growing that audience and getting around 100,000 email subscribers. Then a few years later, I decided to build a new audience in a new location. And sure enough, it worked the second time, and it actually worked better. And then I did it 3 more times on 3 different platforms, simply following the same tried and true formula. Maybe you're thinking, will it work for me? Yes, I believe you can do it too. I'm going to unveil my actual process, including secret nuances and psychological components I've tested again and again, so you can do it too. You can build the right audience, an audience that truly trusts you and wants more from you. Let's get into it and do it big. So let's get into your dream. What is your dream? When you think about changing the world, when you think about getting out there, would you like to be in 100 countries? Would you like to have one of your channels have 100,000 subscribers on it? Would you like to be getting 100,000 views on a YouTube video? Would you like to have something on Instagram blow up and go viral? Because the truth of the matter is not everybody wants that. Would you like to get interviewed every single day by let's say for the first 30 days so that somebody would see you, and then the next month you'd have people with 2,000 subscribers, and the next month you'd have people with 3,000 subscribers, and then the next month and the next month, and by the end of 12 months, your card is totally blown up. You're getting 5 to 10 requests every single day, and you're able to have the power to say, you know what, I get 10 requests a day. I can only take 1. Now you get to choose the very best. What would it do for the people that you help if you had a huge worldwide audience? I want you to think in the back of your mind to what others have done. Now, I'm not going to name any names, because the problem is if I sat here and named 10 names, some of you would just start Googling those names to go find them. You wouldn't like some of the people, go, oh, that person isn't like me, so I wouldn't be able to do it. But let me ask you this. Have you ever seen somebody that kind of had a rags to riches story? They were poor and they were broke 3 years ago, and they got there and they did this, and they decided they were going to go all in on YouTube, or they decided they were going to go all in on Twitter. They decided they were going to go all in on Clubhouse, and they roughed it out. And for 90 days, it was really bad. And they almost lost their house, all of these things. But now when you look at them 3 years later, they're at the top of the world. Can you think of anybody? Like, I think for almost every channel out there, I can think of somebody where that's happened. And here's the thing, the story is different for each one. Their big break is different for each one. What you don't know a lot of times is that their big break came after 1,000 tries. The first thing is you got to visualize what your steps are, and they're going to be different for everybody. So like if you're wanting to go national or worldwide on LinkedIn, the steps are going to be different than they are on YouTube. They're going to be different than they are on Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. You got to go all in. You got to make this long-term commitment that says, I am going to make this happen. I'm going to take the hill. I'm going to take the charge. I'm going to make a big deal about this because, again, going back to this 30-day thing, most entrepreneurs that fail are weak-willed. They're weak-willed and they bounce around. Some family member tells them that it won't work anymore. And so they take the advice of a family member that has no clue over the advice of their coach or their mentor. We take advice from family members, from friends. Oh, I don't know how that would ever work. And we start doubting ourselves instead of saying, you know what, this is going to work. This is going to make me a millionaire. This is going to make me popular. This is going to get me on the channels. So one of the things that's really important here is you've got to just decide your goal in your future. I started from scratch in 2006. We started with Easy Articles. And the way I got started with that is I found somebody else that had written, 4,000 articles. And what they were doing is they were sending traffic to AdSense. And they were writing their articles on keywords that if somebody clicked, they'd get paid like $20 every time they clicked on the article. I wasn't really keen on that particular model. The only reason I said that was because I had seen Michael had like 4,000 articles, and that's what he was doing. So I knew that the traffic was working. I mean, if he was writing 2 or 3 articles a day and I saw how he was monetizing, he had to be making money because he wouldn't be doing it for charity, right? And sometimes you can look at it and you go, well, I'm not sure. But if you see 25 people doing it, my wife says, follow the money. If 25 people are doing something, it should be making money, and they're doing it for a long period of time. Doesn't it make sense? It's probably working. And so I had great faith that if I went in there and did it and I could get the clicks, then I could find a way to make them pay. And initially I sent them to affiliate traffic. And then I realized that if I wrote my own books, I could make more money per click by sending it to my own books. And so that's what I did. And after I had about 1,500 articles, I don't even know if I was getting tired of writing articles. I probably was getting tired, but I realized my average article was making me like $40. And so I could hire somebody for $5 to write the article. And so that's what I did. So for like 3 years, I had hired people to write 23,500 articles at somewhere between $4 and $6 an article. You can do the math on that. Now, did I make a $125,000 investment up front? No. I started from scratch by myself. I wrote 1,500 articles. Imagine if you did 1,500 videos in the next year. Imagine if you did 1,500 articles on Medium. Imagine if you did 1,500 of something all in one place, not spread out over 10 different places, but all in one place. What would happen? I started from scratch at a little place called the Warrior Forum. I just started writing. I just started getting into the forum. I didn't know anything about the monetization, if I remember correctly. I just started answering people's questions, hoping that they would go to my signature and they would join my list. And I think we ended up doing like 300 WSOs there, literally starting from 100% scratch. Why am I making such a big deal? Actually, I'm going to give you 2 more scratch examples. About 4 years ago, people were just going nuts with Facebook groups. I don't like social. I don't like Facebook. But I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a try. And so I literally went on scratch for Facebook. I think I had like 100 friends, and they were all people that had just accidentally found me over the last 10 years because I had created a Facebook page for my book when I wrote it. So the plan that I came up with was that I was going to friend 50 people a day for 3 months and see what happened. 50 people a day. That was my plan. And so that's what I did. I friended, and I didn't probably even friend 50 a day, but let's say 40 to 60 a day. I friended them. And as soon as they responded to my friend request, I said, hey, would you like to join my group? And I don't remember the numbers, but maybe a third of them would join my groups. Every day I had like 10 people join in my group. After 120 days, I think I had 1,500 friends. I had 990 people in a brand new Facebook group, and I had like 1,000 incoming Facebook friend requests that I hadn't even responded to. I did that almost completely from scratch. Now, did some people know about me in the world? Yes. But could I have basically gotten the same results if I just sprouted yesterday? I truly believe so. That's the third example. So any of you that are holding yourself back and you're like, well, I can't start from scratch. You know what? I just thought came to my mind. My mother used to say this. I hope this isn't bad in anybody's language, but she used to say people are full of baloney. Seriously, you're full of baloney if you say, well, I'm starting from scratch and I can't do that. Look, I don't know what the Twitter formula is because I don't use it. I don't know what Threads is. I don't know what Clubhouse is. But almost every social platform out there that's worth doing anything has a function where you can meet people. You see, here's the thing. If you go into social and all you do is create content and nobody sees it, it usually doesn't get much of a result. And that's what a lot of people do is they go out there and they just make a video a day for a year and nobody ever really sees them. But if you will take wherever you're at and do 50 to 100 followers, connections, friends, whatever you're supposed to do on that platform, and get them to become into your world, and then every single time that you post your something, you send it to all of your friends and followers. You say, well, what if they don't see it? You know, sometimes people tell me, oh, I posted something and I only got 3 impressions. Okay. You know what I personally do? Here's what I personally do. I did this yesterday. I had a video that I really wanted to get a lot of people to. So I spent like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, sending personal messages to, I don't know the number, I didn't count them all, maybe 150 people. I said, hey, we just published an interview. Would you like to watch it? Let me ask you this. What would happen if every single day you friended 50 to 100 people wherever you're at, and you were to create a piece of content, and then you were to personally send 100 messages a day to all of those people, and you did that for 90 days? What would happen to your content? I don't care what platform you're on. I don't even care if your content's bad. What is your problem? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to overcome that? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? So same thing with LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn was more of a long burn for me. I started on LinkedIn, I don't know, 5 years ago, and just a few connections a day. But same thing, I started out from absolute scratch. So if you're looking at like raw right now, Sean Mize, here's what I want to do. I want to share a screen with you is because I want to show you this in real time. So far, what I have told you about is I've been telling you all about what I've done in the past historically. And some of you are probably still saying to yourself, I can't do what, if I started something 30 days ago and have had exponential results so far, would you then believe that whatever it is could actually be current for you today? How many of you would say that you believe that? So I'm hoping to be able to convince you of that today. All right. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I'm going to go up to a screenshot inside of YouTube. You'll see that when I took this screenshot, probably in about March, I had 306 videos, and those had come over the course of 10 years. A few days ago, I literally went into YouTube and deleted almost 100 videos that no longer support my mission, that are giving YouTube the wrong signal for what my YouTube channel is about. I literally went in, I deleted like 200 videos of content, because what that it does is it allows me to say, put a stake in the ground of the universe to tell the world that this is where we're moving forward. This is what I believe. And if you see a video on my YouTube channel, with the exception of about 3 videos that I'm still there, like my babies, every video points to the right thing. If you look at a video from 90 days ago, you're going to find that it's not as good and to the point as the ones that are now. And I absolutely guarantee you that unless something radically changes in my life, in 90 days, my videos will be 2 to 3 times better than they are right now today. I made a commitment to continue to get better. And here's what I'm saying. I've been doing this repeatedly for 18 years. And this isn't about me bragging. This is about me pouring belief into you that if I've done it, that you don't look at me or any other guru out there online and say, well, you've been in business for 18 years and you have all these followers and you have all this money coming in. And so you're different than me. I'm really trying to level myself right down to your level and say, look, this is where I started. And so I want to come back into the YouTube studio and I want to show you my stats for March. So this is 2 months ago. These stats are pretty consistent for the last couple of years. And I get about 700 views a month. I get about 20 hours of watch time a month. And I get about, 4 subscribers a month. This was actually a really low month. I'd probably get about 5 new subscribers. So here we are, we're sitting in May, so March, April, May. So 2 months later, if we look at the last 28 days, what do we have? So remember, I want you to think about this. Look at the screen, 724 and 21. Last 28 days, this is now 1.7 thousand views, okay, and 159 hours of watch time instead of 21. Now, I think that some people might look at this and say, well, Sean, that's sort of, that could have happened to anybody and that's sort of accidental. But the truth of the matter is, I used the exact same formula for the last 30 days that I used at Easing Articles, that I used at Warrior Forum, that I used at Facebook, that I used at LinkedIn. And let me ask you this. If I continue to use this formula for the next 30 days and the next 30 days and the next 30 days, what's probably going to happen to the traffic, right? And it actually has nothing to do with who I am and how great I am. It has everything to do with the fact that I'm looking at the metrics. I'm saying what works. I'm studying it. I'm spending several hours a week studying what are the things that have to improve about these videos. What are the actual places that need to be changed? What's wrong with the first 30 seconds of my videos? What's wrong with the last 30 seconds? So that I can go in there and fix it. I used to do exactly the same thing in Easing Articles. We would study the articles and say, why is the CTA low on this? It's only 5%. This article is not performing. We would go in there and change the CTA so that we could make more money. Did the exact same thing with the Warrior Forum offers. We would go in, we'd look at the conversion rates the first day, we'd write the sales letter the next day. Is that ridiculous and absurd? Yes, it's ridiculous and absurd, but it allowed me to get where I want to go. And again, I'm not bragging. I'm trying to pour into you the truth, because so many people out there are telling you that you can just sit on your couch, you can have happy thoughts, you can do LOA, you can just kind of follow a little blueprint, and eventually your riches will come. Okay, but they won't unless you pull them together. And I truly believe that. And that's what I want to pour into you. So you've seen the stats, and that's what I've done. You can do it as well. And so, look, I really, really, really want you to dig into this and say, okay, if this is my dream, do I want it bad enough to do the work? And if you don't, then check out. If you want to do it bad enough then to do the work, I want to encourage you for the next 48 hours to dig deep inside of yourself and say, what's my 3-year plan? What could I do today to double my traffic? Anywhere that you're at, especially if you're starting from scratch, it's so much easier to double 100 visitors to 200 than it is to double 1 million visitors to 2 million. It's so much easier to double You know, somebody comes to me and they're making $0, it's really hard to get them to make their first dollar. But if somebody comes to me and they're already making $1,000, I can probably give them a secret tip and they can make 2,000 the next month. And I can probably give them another secret tip and they can make 4,000 the next month, because it's easy to double the low numbers. If you only have 100 followers somewhere, you're willing to do a math excitement, interesting thing with me right now? Let's do some math. I have 10 fingers where each one's going to be a month. So you have 100 followers right now. Anybody have at least 100 followers? If you have at least 100 followers, I can just imagine you just work on your 100 followers. Could you get 100 followers to become 200 next month? Could you do that? Could you get 200 followers to become 400 the next month? Could you get 400 to become 800 the next month? Could you get 800 to become 1,600 the next month? This is really feeling slow, isn't it? You're only going to have 1,600 followers in 5 months. So what if we just doubled it again? We say the 6th month, I'm going to have 3,200. The next month, I'm going to have 6,400. The next month, I'm going to have 12,800. The next month, I'm going to have 25,000. The next month, I'm going to have 50,000. Can we go bold here? The 11th month, I'm going to have 100,000. The 12th month, I'm going to have 200,000. Let me ask you this. If you had 200,000 followers and your emails were no better than they are today, your sales letters are no better than they are today, your product is no better than it is today, would you be making a whole lot more money than you are right now? Would you be getting a whole lot more interview requests than you are right now? And let me ask you this. What if you said, well, I'm going to make my emails 10% better. I'm going to make my products 10% better. I'm going to make my sales letter 10% better. But here's the thing. If you will sit back and you'll say, what can I do on one platform? I'm going to dominate Medium in 12 months. I'm going to dominate YouTube in 12 months. I'm going to dominate Threads. I'm going to dominate Twitter. Not everywhere, one place. So here's the steps. First of all, you got to commit. Second thing is you have to immerse. Like everything you're studying is to build your audience in that one platform. You're not being distracted by anything. You're not being distracted by anybody's emails, by anybody's ideas, by anybody's success story. You know, if Facebook next week comes out with some new AI program that's going to triple your sales, you're going to totally ignore it. Why? Because you are totally focused on whatever it is that you're focused on. You're going to go all in and have massive action. You're going to be strategic. You're going to learn the platform. You're going to funnel all of your activity to the new platform. You're going to commit to daily improvement. I haven't really talked that much about daily improvement. It's critical. I want you to look, I'm not going to go backwards. I'm going to look at YouTube and I'm going to go forward now. I've talked so much about the past. I'm going to talk forward. The reason I've talked about the past is because I have proof for the past. I can prove what I used to do in the past. I can't prove what's going to happen in the future. But let's just talk about YouTube for a minute. If my YouTube videos stay at my current level of ability, but I do one new one every single day for the next 3 years, will my channel grow? Hands down, yes. Will I get more followers? Hands down, yes. But if I were to go take some classes and I would learn how to make a YouTube video better, if every single video I were to study it for 1 hour and find one flaw with it and fix that flaw on the next video. Next video, I spend a full hour studying my video to find a flaw. If I did that for 30 days and found 30 flaws and fixed 30 flaws, and my videos were just 30% better next month, how much further would I be in 3 years? And then what if I did it again and again? What if every single day for the next 250 working days, the next year, every single day I made one small improvement? You know, some people say practice makes perfect. No, practice doesn't make perfect. All practice does is ingrains whatever you're practicing. If I go to the golf course and I practice hitting a ball the wrong way, I am going to become really good at hitting the ball the wrong way. Perfect practice makes perfect, okay? Or practice with a coach that helps you get better every single day. That's what makes perfect. And so for some of you that have been grinding away and doing content, but your content looks exactly like it did 3 years ago, you absolutely, if at the risk of offending somebody, you absolutely have to commit to daily improvement, not weekly improvement, but daily improvement in order to get where you want to go. You can do it. You cannot have any excuses, none whatsoever. And I said earlier, look, it'll take longer than 30 days. If you jump ship in 30 days, I guarantee that you'll fail. Like if you try Twitter out for 30 days, you will fail. If you try Facebook out for 30 days, you will fail. Look, I tried Facebook out for 4 months, and some people would say that what I did was a win. I had 990 people in a group. I had made, I don't know, $30,000 on the group in 4 months. I had done a couple other things that I could probably brag about regarding the group. But you know what? I wasn't happy. I didn't like the way that I had to do the process. I was not enjoying it. For me, it was not a win. So I quit. After 4 months, I quit. Now, did I take away the emails and did I take away, some of those people are probably still following me today. So it's not like I quit. But after 120 days, I had decided I'm going to move on, right? In the last several years, we've done incredible things with LinkedIn, driven the revenue that we want. But you know what? I've realized after 3 years, LinkedIn isn't the engine that's going to take me where I want to go. And so I'm saying, you know what? YouTube is the engine right now for me that I can do what I did 18 years ago at Easing Articles. And I truly believe that. So what does it mean? YouTube is a long game. That means I've got to be committed to it for 18 months minimum and probably 3 years to get where I want to go. Now, I'm not going to share with you my personal dream for my 3 years, but can I ask you this? What is your favorite channel for social? I want you to think about that. I don't want to visualize that for a minute. Okay, now I want you to think about somebody that you really admire on that channel that has quite a following. They may not be like 1 million followers, but somebody you really admire on that channel. So let me ask you this. If you were to mimic everything that they did that you really admire, and you were to get better every single day, and you were to invite 50 to 100 people every single day to watch every single video or every single post that you made, and you made a new post every single day for 3 years, and you accepted every interview request that came in, and you even went out and asked some people, would you interview me? Or you even went out and asked some people, can I interview you? What would happen to your social platform in 3 years? Where would you be? Is it possible you'd have 100,000 followers? Is it possible that you'd have a core group of people that would just buy your stuff, that would do whatever that you asked them to do? Is it possible that you'd be getting a daily interview request? I want you to think about that for a second. It is, isn't it? It's really possible. In fact, folks, not only is it possible, but it's probable. Like in your heart of hearts, are you thinking right now, it's actually probable? You are, aren't you? You're thinking it's probable. You know why? Because it is probable. And if you're allowing yourself to use any level of logic to think about this, you'll recognize that it is possible for you to go absolutely worldwide, huge audience, people beating your door down to be able to get in touch with you literally over a very short period of time. So because of the fact that I'm scanning for opportunity, and I think that's part of it. It should have been in my teaching earlier. Part of the whole process of everything I've talked about today. If I could give you one thing, it's like once you commit, you start scanning for opportunities. You're scanning. You see somebody that's doing an interview. You see somebody. Here's the thing. I want to talk about luck and coincidence for just a moment. Coincidences happen to everybody all the time, and luck happens to everybody all the time. And bad luck happens to people all the time. Like random things happen all the time in our lives. But the harder I work and the more aware I am of what's going on around me, the more coincidences I run into and the more luck that I run into. And all the things that I've talked about for the last 2 to 3 weeks, some of these things you would look at it and you would go, that's luck. That's coincidence. That's God's blessing. That's this. I was looking for these opportunities. The more we work, the more opportunity we give God to actually bless the things that we do. Okay. So no credit away from God. I absolutely give God absolute credit for that and for everything else that's happened. But I'm not sitting on the couch, right? So let me ask you this. If I continue scanning for opportunities, continue accepting interview requests, continue making every video better than the video before, continue optimizing things, what is likely to happen in the next 2 weeks and 3 weeks? Is it likely that there's going to be a few more coincidences where I'm connected with people that are 25 times the level that I'm at right now? What is that likely? I actually believe that it is. And I don't believe that it's luck. I do believe that it's God's blessing. But I believe that a significant part of that is seeking for the opportunity, becoming better. I'm going to leave you with one last thing. At your current version of yourself, the current level that you write at, are the people that you would want to have interactions with going to accept you at that level? I'm not saying this from a family and friends perspective. I'm saying, look, if you want to play with the big boys and the big girls, you just might have to up-level your presence. I have up-leveled my presence in the last 30 to 60 days, and I've been up-leveling it for the last year. If you want to be able to play with bigger and bigger sandboxes, you may have to upgrade your personal performance. You may have to learn to write better. I want you to believe in yourself. If this was really good for you, hit the subscribe button. If you can believe for yourself that you can go to a much higher level than where you're at right now. It starts with belief, and then you have to follow it through with decisive action. You have to take amazing action. You follow it through, you scan for opportunities, you take the opportunities, and finally you get to the place where you got so many opportunities coming in that you don't just take every opportunity that comes, but you start culling those opportunities back into the best ones. And maybe you give out a charity every once in a while, and you just continue to help and you give. And here's the thing, I believe that every single person here, you're hearing the sound of my voice, in the next 90 days, you can start building a raving audience from scratch. And if you'll follow it through for the next 3 years, I truly believe that the sky is your limit. You'll build something that if you want him to, God can bless it, because you are building it and you are making it strong and you are being your best self and you are developing, you are sending out to people your best message so that you can change lives. How much more valuable would it be for you to change 100,000 lives with your message instead of 10 or 100? How much more valuable would it be if you could touch 1 million people 3 years from now instead of 1,000 people or 5,000 people or whatever your current limit is? What would it mean for you to be able to change the world in that way? Go make it happen. I believe you can do it.